Bears fans, YouTube, welcome back to another episode of Bears Fans Talk. Johnny C here, just as it ever was, with the main event, Kevin Haggerty.
Where are we?
You might notice a little bit of a different setup. We're in transition. A wall got knocked down in the basement intentionally. I guess, there wasn't like an earthquake or something like that.
There was actually a fight, and our friend...
Not even there's a fire.
A fight.
Okay.
Threw them through the wall, and then you had to demolish it thereafter.
It kind of reminds me, we did have a friend who went through, not through a wall, but took down the drywall of my aunt's house.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. It's actually kind of surprising now that I know a little bit more about what's in these walls, and that it's kind of surprising that happened.
I think the wall that you had here was definitely fabricated and added post it
because it was still pretty sturdy.
Well, they had the flooring down underneath it, so I think they added it after. I bet you they did this whole thing and then they sold it. No one can see what we're looking
100%.
at.
100%. I'll include a picture. But anyway, we'll call this kind of the wrap up of season 2.
Okay.
And then maybe once the draft happens, which is, less than 2 weeks away now, that we then transition to a new set. Maybe we'll try and build something out a little bit and then get back to another victorious offseason for the Chicago Bears.
It's been a great offseason, John.
Yeah.
It's been a phenomenal offseason.
You could argue that either way.
I mean, we've talked about it before, but all the trades that they've made, they just signed Kyler Gordon, actually.
They did, yeah.
So now he's the highest paid slot cornerback in the NFL right now.
Yes.
So between...
That worries me.
I was going to say, between Kyler and then Jalen Johnson, that's a lot of money in your secondary. Mm-hmm. Not even your secondary, in your cornerbacks, which are extremely important. Don't get me wrong, but if you're pressuring the quarterback up front with your front four, or your front four is where it starts, you don't need the best secondary.
Yes, I do think that there might not be as much.
I'm just saying.
Kyler Gordon, I think Kyler Gordon is great.
I like
but the nickel, so he's not on the field. He's not seeing as many snaps as, Jalen Johnson or...
I disagree now. I think most people are running like 3 wide receiver sets at all times now. It's a lot of 11 personnel out there. They're always running 3 wide receivers now. The slot receiver in the NFL actually, I think, is becoming critically important. It's probably...
Yeah, which I think is what the Bears end up going for here, which makes a lot of sense. So that's obviously a big, piece of information. One thing I just realized as we're kind of talking, has Aaron Rodgers signed with anybody yet?
No.
He still has. Wasn't there some sort of Pat McAfee show in Pittsburgh? Mm-hmm. What became of that? Did anything happen? I figured that was going to be hey, I'm taking my talents to...
TJ Watt just posted something like, peace, I'm out, or something, or peace, I'm gone, and everyone was speculating that he wants out of Pittsburgh, which then all the rumors start because as I started with the lead on that when we're talking about the Bears, front four, TJ Watt obviously would be a player that the Bears would probably want to go after. Mm-hmm. We've talked at length about Max Crosby on this show, and Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
And TJ Watt always felt like he was unattainable, and now he's attainable. But he's a generational talent. I don't want to say generational talent because that's hard to put that thing. But he is one of the premier players in the NFL.
I'm not willing to say that we're going to be able to, because we couldn't get Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett actually wanted out, and then still decided he wasn't moving.
It's the biggest BS in the world. Yeah. Myles Garrett just wanted to get paid. He didn't care who he played for, as long as he got paid.
It doesn't feel like trades are going to be happening. Big blockbuster trades are going to be happening at this point. I don't know. I think it's going to be the draft, and then maybe just some ticky-tack free agent moves from here out. And really,
the Bears specifically,
for everyone, for the NFL, I don't think big trades will happen. I don't think big trades happen really post-draft before the season.
No, during the draft though, there could be a blockbuster. I wouldn't be surprised.
But when they're moving draft picks, but you never see a player in those deals. It's usually just shuffling around picks.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. I think that I don't know. Not the NFL's gone cold, but there's a ton of the hype on the Masters last week.
Yeah.
We could just pause really quick and talk about that because I think every sports fan recognized that the Masters this year had a different feel to it.
It was the most I've ever I've only picked up golf 2 or 3 years ago. It was the first time I really sat down and was cognizant of what was going on at the Masters.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
My wife was even this is actually cool.
Yeah, me and my wife were watching it as well, and when Rory was on hole 18, and he just needed a par?
Yeah.
And
he bogeys it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe he needed a birdie, but anyway,
no, he didn't. He had the lead.
His drive shot was great.
Yeah.
And then he was 125 yards out,
straight in the sand.
And I said, this is a layup at this point. And then even the sand shot
was great.
Yeah, it was great.
It was an easy makeable putt.
Yeah.
It was, but
my wife was like, "Oh no!" Like feeling super bad and like anxious about it. Yeah, so,
dude,
it was great.
It was. I think that like the Masters, particularly, like they had a ton of good hype around it. Like they do the par 3 contest. They had I forgot whose daughter. I think it was McIlroy's daughter. Rory's daughter hit the putt at the par 3 comp, which was great. They have like all the concessions are like $2 for the sandwiches or whatever.
Yeah.
The whole no cell.
That plays into it.
But it does.
Yeah.
The aura of it.
Yeah.
Like the no cell phone rule. Do you know about that?
Me and Tara were talking about the fact that you don't never see anybody with cell phones. Is it a rule?
It's like going to Chappelle's stand-up comedy. You have to check your cell phone in before you can go to the Masters.
True?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And if they catch you with the phone, they'll kick you out.
Well, good. I did like that.
Dude, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like it adds to the aura of the Masters.
Yeah.
Some additional information I'll give you. So my understanding of the process is, correct me if I'm wrong here, guys. My understanding of the process is that there's a lottery to get tickets.
Yes. Yeah. You can't just buy tickets to the Masters.
Yeah. So there's a lottery, and if you win the lottery, it's like you get a 4-day pass for $350.
Wow.
Okay.
So that's like not a lot of money at all.
Okay, awesome, right?
Yeah.
You want them on the secondary market? They go for like $2,000 to $4,000 per day.
Per day.
Per day, Johnny.
Fuck that.
Yo,
That's a lot.
others. Let me just add to it some more. So the people around Augusta's a real sleepy town. They'll rent their house out for the week, and they will make their mortgage and profit for the entire week. That is like the aura of the Masters.
Yeah.
And like it's beautiful. It's
There's really like not a lot of like negative connotations around golf. I mean,
live stuff.
Yeah, but like even but that doesn't trickle into like the general public.
Well,
like I think the general public, people like there are like lots of people who just like on principle don't like the NFL, don't like the NBA. Like there's really not so much of that about golf.
Well, Bryson's a live guy. He's one of the few like really good live guys that like would come back to the PGA, and like they didn't like the Masters didn't even cover him on day 3 because he was a live guy.
Really?
Well, they're saying they didn't cover him like day 2, day 3 because he was a live guy. Who knows if that's true or not? That could be speculation. But like, the lives are backed by the Saudis. Like that's Saudi oil money. Like it's completely foreign for like it's obviously not working though. Like they're all gonna come back to the PGA, but there's like that whole thing that's going on too. But anyways, the Masters was great.
Yeah. And I really enjoyed watching it and looking forward to get out golfing. But really, what I want to talk about today, Kevin.
Oh, I forgot the reason I'm saying. When we go back to that, so there's a lot of hype around that. You have the playing games right now going for the NBA, right? Like baseball's in full swing. I've been watching a ton of baseball. It's Jackie Robinson Day, 2-day.
Is it?
It is 4/15, which is really weird. Tax day, boys and girls, which is really weird that they do Jackie Robinson Day on tax day. Whatever. Anyways, the NFL needs to like make a splash. Not make a splash, but like get back in the forefront of the sporting world. They just had a WNBA draft the other day.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's a bunch of stuff going on. And what's the best way for the NFL to like get back in the news and get back front and center?
What would that be? Doing the draft that they have every year? You saying that's like
having a big trade.
Yeah, but I don't think that's gonna. That was a really long way to bring it. But you brought it home, all right? It took a 6-minute conversation about the Masters, and then we briefly transitioned to the NBA and the WNBA, and then you try to say that because all this is stuff going on to sports, there's going to arbitrarily be a big trade in the NFL.
I'm a little rusty.
This is the type of content you come to the Bears Fan Talk for.
I'm a little rusty.
Anyway, so I really want to talk about these mock drafts.
Let's go.
I got 3 pulled up right now.
All right. Let me ask off the bat. Does anyone have us drafting Genty?
Yes.
Okay, good. Let's go. Let's continue.
I intentionally picked.
Can you give me the sources?
So I've got one from Bleacher Report.
Okay, good one.
The author is a gentleman named Brent Solbeski. Then we got one from CBS.
Okay, incredible.
Let me see if there's any. I didn't got Mike Renner.
Okay.
And then I got one from Pro Football Network.
That's fine.
Yeah, so I'm just basically.
Is that Genty's?
Which one?
Is that last one Genty's?
We'll get there when we get there.
Okay.
Just calm down, all right? Okay, so I guess we'll open up by this. Is there something in your mind that like this is what I think needs to happen? This is what you want.
Yes.
And we've been arguing about Genty for quite a while. Is that truly where you think they're going?
So here's
is there a most likely in your mind, and is it separate from what you want?
So here's what I'm gonna say. So Genty, if he falls to us at 9, I don't
10.
Or 10. I'm sorry, 9 was last year. I don't care really what else is there. He has to be the best available. Like, he has to be the best player left if he's there at 10.
Yeah.
Like, he is. I'm not saying he's a generational talent here, but I'm saying he is a exceptionally good football player. And if he's there at 10, any way you dice it, he's got to be the best available. And the Bears have to take him at 10. So, like, just like thinking about it as far as like conceptually and how it works, and like, I'm not always, I do tend on the side of like taking the best available. You can't pass on him at 10. So if he falls to us at 10, the Bears have to take him.
I'd argue against that just because, and I'm a self-proclaimed not big NCAA guy. I know these names. I don't know who's actually like the best prospect out there. What I've heard from multiple people is that this is a deep drafted running back.
I've heard that.
And that's saying we have 2 early second-round picks.
Yep.
And I feel way more comfortable picking a running back in that spot as opposed to going Ashton Genty, because the best running back on the board versus the third best running back on the board, how much production difference are we going to get from those guys this year or the next 4 years?
Well, here's what I'll say about the running back position specifically is like, you can come in at the running back position and I feel like you can have more of an immediate impact than any other position probably in NFL. Maybe edge rusher. Maybe an edge rusher can have, but like offensive lines can take time to get a great quarterback. We know there's growing pains at quarterback. Receiver, just as difficult. Running back though, I feel like minus pass protection, which is a difficult concept to figure out, but it's lesser to the extent like... Go ahead.
I'll counter that point by saying Saquon Barkley.
What about him?
How much of an impact did he make on the Giants?
He was the best player on one of the worst organizations in the history of the world.
How much of an impact did he make on the winning organization? But you don't need to look this up. The Giants were bad the entire time that he was there.
Yeah, I mean, but he was the only team that they had, man.
More recently, his
rookie year, he went for you tell me if you would accept this out of Genty if he came 1,300 yards rushing and 11 touchdowns.
How many games?
91 receptions, Johnny.
How many games did they win? And more recently,
he's the only thing that they had, Johnny.
Okay, but I'm saying like, yeah, you can have a running back who puts up these awesome numbers. But
Bro,
it's not affecting the outcomes of the games, because the running back is not the one that wins games anymore. It's just not.
But it is. Who won the Super Bowl this year?
Saquon Barkley did.
Yes.
But behind a rock solid offensive line and a really good quarterback.
Dude, his rookie year,
good veteran quarterback who had been there before.
His rookie year, he had 2,028 yards from scrimmage, man. That is insane.
More recently, and I'm stealing this from the radio that I heard, they were talking about, as another comp for what I'm saying is Bijan Robinson. Has had a fantastic first 2 years. He's got 23 all-purpose touchdowns over his first 2 years.
Bijan?
Yeah.
I've owned Bijan.
Yeah.
He's such a disappointment.
In what way?
He sucks.
He's put up great numbers. Bijan Robinson has put up like 2,500 yards and 23 touchdowns in his first 2 seasons.
Are you sure?
Yes. And the Falcons are sub 500 ball.
Dude, yeah, I am because I know.
Yeah, so but the point I'm trying to make is that you can have these running backs who can come out and perform, but I don't think that it has the same impact on the game.
All right, it was last year. He had 14 touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
His first year, he only had 8 touchdowns.
That's not no touchdowns. His rookie year, he's got a touchdown every other game.
Yeah, when you take him in the first round, it's not what you're expecting.
We're not talking about fantasy. So what I'm trying to say is I don't think, and then I'm not saying...
And Atlanta was in the playoff hunt so let's talk about that. Atlanta was in a playoff hunt last year, and they switched over from Kirky to Michael Penix. Okay.
They were in the playoff hunt because they were in the worst division in football.
What, the NFC South?
Yes.
Yeah.
Objectively. That's why they were in the playoff.
Doesn't matter. They're still in the playoff hunt. I'm just saying though that they gave up halfway through, not halfway towards the end, and they started Michael Penix. I want the production. I'm saying that. Here's the other thing that I've heard too, and I don't know everything about this draft. I haven't studied it thoroughly, but what I will say is what everyone else is saying, all the analysts are saying, there is not much difference between an end of the day 1 pick or night 1 pick and then the start of day 3. Mm-hmm. Okay, so meaning that like that in
between, kind of a fall off.
Yeah, that in between is is very, very mushy. Mm-hmm. And I'm just saying...
But it always is. I mean...
But if you can get a top-tier guy, man, like Genty, he's got to be best on the board.
My thinking is I want that 10th pick to fill a need that we really... And to me, it's got to be left tackle or edge.
Yeah.
Or even defensive tackle, depending on what's there. Yeah. So without further ado, let's actually go through the first top 10 picks to get to the Bears for each of these couple of months.
Cam Ward,
everywhere I'm seeing unanimous number 1 to the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people say that Cam Ward probably wouldn't even be like the 3rd or the 4th best quarterback on the board last year, but he did win the Heisman. Yeah. So
bad attitude.
And Tennessee, is that what it is?
Yeah, bad attitude.
Yeah, and Tennessee seems to be fully ready to move on from Will Levis and his mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
In this mock draft
Hunter
from Bleacher Report, Travis Hunter, yes, wide receiver out of Colorado. Wait, is he? Who's the dual guy? Is that Travis Hunter?
The Heisman Trophy winner. Yeah.
Wait, he won the Heisman Trophy?
Yes.
Did Cam Ward win a Heisman Trophy?
No.
No. Okay, I'm making up then. Sorry.
It's okay. That's what I'm here for. The fact check.
Okay. All right. So
I love that roll of the eyes.
I am happy to see.
So Travis Hunter plays both cornerback and receiver,
which I think is a gimmick that is dumb. And I don't want him on my football team.
I don't want it either.
Yeah, I don't want a two-way player. Yeah, sure, it's amazing. It's super impressive for college, but it is not going to translate to the NFL.
He's a perfect guy to go to the Cleveland Browns, though.
Yes.
That is what the Browns draft. Yes. Like, hype.
Yeah.
Like, not even, I don't even want to call, I guess they got Menzel. Like,
yeah.
Dude, they totally screwed it up.
And then Joe Flacco can throw him, or I don't even know what he ended up playing. Maybe they have him here listed as a wide receiver, so I guess that's what they think he's going to play.
Yeah, he's going to do wide receiver.
Number 3, New York Giants, edge rusher Abdul Carter.
Yeah, he's supposed to be amazing.
Yeah.
He's from UGA, right?
Penn State.
Oh, Penn State. I'm sorry. Apologies.
Yeah, so that's what they're going with. Yes. So, and then number 4, New England Patriots select offensive tackle Will Campbell out of LSU.
That seems like a very Patriots thing to do.
Yeah, which, I mean, they want to protect their young quarterback.
Yeah.
And then number 5, who I hear everyone saying they're really hoping falls to the Bears, would be defensive line Mason Graham.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to.
Doesn't seem like that's going to happen. Goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay.
Number 6, New Orleans. Okay. They have making a trade with the Raiders, trading up with the Raiders to go and get.
Genty.
No, Shadur Sanders.
Yeah.
That's what New Orleans does. Who is throwing the ball in New Orleans right now? Is David Carr or Derek Carr still there?
Derek Carr. Yeah.
I guess that kind of makes sense, though I don't see the Raiders trading back.
So a couple things about Sanders. Did you hear they're retiring his number at the University of Colorado?
Yes.
Him and Travis Hunter.
Yes, I did see that.
It's pretty trash.
It's pretty trash. But you know what? Like
the analogy I heard was it was like the travel baseball team when the dad makes their son or gets their son to play shortstop. Like that's the analogy I heard. It's just, I feel like it's just Deion's like, oh, for sure retire Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter was like. It was awesome. Playing both ways, like, very cool.
Yeah.
Like, probably not going to happen.
And he won a Heisman.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, what do you...
Put him on the program, and then I feel like Deion's like, oh, yo, can we just toss my son in there, too? Like, riding his coattails.
I heard they were saying on the radio that Deion also unretired 2 numbers at the beginning of last season.
Did he really?
Yeah, that's what I heard. I don't know who they were, but it sounds like trash. But
if I'm University of Colorado, I'm letting Deion do whatever he wants, though. Honestly,
I guess so. I mean, yeah, and some of this could just be to like keep people talking. Now his son is leaving. Some of the hype from Colorado is going to be gone.
Yeah.
But the most important thing here is if you were just kind of like going to be passively watching the draft, it's going to be very important to see when Shadur Sanders comes off the board. I think that is like the biggest unknown in this draft right now.
Yeah.
And I think there are a lot of people, and I kind of support this opinion, that don't believe that Shadur Sanders should be a first-round pick.
Yeah.
I think that he could easily fall to the end of the first round.
I can deem to be a second-round guy, honestly.
Maybe.
Like, dude,
but if he goes before the Bears pick, that is a huge win in terms of what will be available for the Bears.
Agreed. Well, like, I would state the obvious. It's a body that the Bears aren't going after, right? The Bears obviously are set at quarterback, so you want as many quarterbacks taken early as possible, right? Because that's not what we're going for. Like literally, if Cam Ward hypothetically were to fall to us at 10, like you're not taking Cam Ward. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, you want quarterbacks taken.
Yes, exactly.
Like, as fast as you can.
Which I don't see it happening. I mean, Cam Ward will go number 1 overall.
Yeah.
So that's 6.
Okay.
Bleacher Report has the Saints trading up to get that from the Raiders.
Yeah.
I don't think that they would need to do that because the Raiders aren't going to pick them. And then the next up.
Why not? Who are the Raiders quarterback right now?
The Raiders got Geno Smith. They could decide to, but I think that's something if they wanted to do, they would do later.
Yeah.
If they want to get some sort of because I think they got Geno for 2 years. So I don't see the Raiders. I mean, this doesn't make a lot of sense. So I'm putting a huge asterisk on this. It doesn't make a lot of sense because I don't think the Raiders are going to take him. So I don't think New Orleans would need to jump up and do this.
Okay.
Number 7, and then we can kind of look at are there any teams on this list coming up that would need a quarterback. Number 7, you could argue no, is the New York Jets, who just got Justin Fields. And Bleacher Report has them drafting Armand Membo, offensive tackle out of Missouri.
So I don't even know that name, man.
I hear them talking about it on the radio.
Okay.
What do they say about this guy? In order to be a run-heavy team, the Jets should look to complete their offensive line in order to control the point of attack. 4 of the 5 pieces appear to be in place, though right tackle still needs to be addressed. So he's a right tackle. It's not going to matter because Justin Fields is going to hold on to the ball, get sacked, and whatever. And occasionally he's going to run for 70 yards. And the Bears.
Be awesome.
There was I'm gonna try and if I can find this graphic, I'll put it on screen right now. There's something about Justin Fields never won a game in which his defense allowed it was something crazy 13 points or something like that. Or,
more than 13 points?
Yeah, allowed more than 13 points. It was something crazy like that.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, I got to try and find that. So that'll be on the screen if I can find it. If it's not on the screen, it means I completely made it up, so please disregard. Number 8, the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
Do you think that they have any need for a quarterback?
No.
You think there's...
I think Bryce...
You make the argument, but I don't think that they can go top 10 picking a quarterback.
I think Bryce... second half of the season, he showed some flashes. Number 1 overall pick, selling the city, no. But a serviceable, does he have a potential to be a starter in the NFL? Yes. He's better than Mitch. Let's put it that way. I've seen better flashes than Mitch. Right. They're not going for.
So Carolina, Bleacher Report has Carolina going with Jalen Walker out of Georgia.
That's who I was thinking of initially.
Yeah. So I think they're kind of. I think they say linebacker is his position. I think he's probably a little bit more of an edge.
Yeah, an edge guy.
Yeah. All right, and then the Saints traded their pick away to the Raiders, who are now the number 9 spot.
So they just swapped.
And they go with cornerback Will Johnson out of Michigan.
I heard guys are shut down.
Yeah. So the Raiders. So yeah, it doesn't make any sense because I don't think any of these teams, except for the Giants, are the only team that might decide to pick a quarterback.
Unless someone moves up. So here's think about it this. I know this is kind of a bad analogy here. Well, who do the Bears taking?
So we're gonna go next.
Yeah.
So Bleacher Report has number 10, Chicago Bears, Ashton Jeanty.
I know because he wasn't taken yet.
Yes.
So
you'll be surprised though. One of these coming up. We'll get there. Anyway.
So really quick. So here's the analogy I make that even you at home can kind of relate to a little bit. So what happens is when there's a run, right? When there's a run on a certain position.
Yeah.
Right? People get really nervous and they fucking reach.
I think that probably happens in later rounds.
Well, I actually think the best quarterback in this is Jackson Dart.
Really?
Yeah, dude, the guy's got swag. Mm-hmm. Absolute swag.
I don't know when do they even consider him going?
I have no idea. I think he's the best, man.
Right.
He's from Ole Miss. I wonder, do you see him at all on your sheet?
Let's see if I can find him. Does he go in the first round? Yes.
Yeah.
He goes to the Cleveland Browns for this draft.
Yeah. So what could happen potentially is Sanders goes super early, and then someone wants to move up and secure their position in getting Jackson Dart. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm hoping occurs. So yes, maybe no one in the top needs a quarterback, but maybe someone's confident enough to trade back and let that super eager team move up, overpay, and go get Jackson Dart, who I think is going to be the best of the 3.
Going to the next mock draft on the CBS website I'm at right now, there's an auto-playing video right now that says, the headline is, Justin Fields doesn't care if the Jets draft a quarterback. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, well, good.
There's also Jalen Milroe, too. He's pretty good, too.
They were talking on the radio. He's invited to day one of the draft, and everyone's super incredulous about whether or not he'll actually go in the first round.
Another Aaron Rodgers situation.
Maybe the Steelers are out on Aaron Rodgers because as of right now, they got nobody.
How ironic would that be?
Some people say Shedeur Sanders could drop to the Steelers. It's like who are like the 21st pick or something like
that. Dude, Sanders could fall out of the first round.
I don't think he'll fall out of the first round.
Dude, if his father wasn't Deion Sanders, I'm telling you, he would not be a first round pick.
But he is, and he will be. I do think that. I don't think he'll fall out of the first round.
I want to see the odds on that.
Because I also don't think there's a lot of talent in I think it's like you got 3 quarterbacks, and who else is coming after that? So going to mock draft number 2. So we got 1 vote for Ashton Jeanty. And basically, Bleacher Report says, hey, the Bears have already addressed wide receiver last year. They've got a tight end that they like. They've addressed their offensive line. And, we did some things on the defensive line, but I don't think it's a complete. So they're saying the next logical conclusion is to address running back, and I think you got to put some respect on DeAndre Swift's name. That's what I'm saying. And this was your position through all of last year. Mm-hmm. I do think that DeAndre Swift is pretty good. I do think that we need a running back. I think it should come with pick 39 or 41. Anyway, okay. So go ahead and next draft. Again, Cam Ward, Tennessee Titans.
Sure.
Again, I'm going to see if there's any discrepancies here. So the next, the Browns go with Travis Hunter. Mm-hmm. Is that what we had in the last draft as well? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then 3 Giants, Abdul Carter, edge rusher.
Yep.
4 Will Campbell, offensive tackle to the Patriots.
Seems pretty unanimous.
I think it's the same, yeah. And then Mason Graham. So the top 5 are actually exactly the same for this draft. 6, the Raiders go Ashton Jeanty, which I think is what they'll do.
The Raiders?
Yes, the Raiders.
So that's where I thought.
I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think that
feels like Pete Carroll. Like have another beast mode sort of guy.
Yes.
Like
bell cow.
Yeah.
I think a lot of
school football.
A lot of people really do like Ashton Jeanty. They just got Geno Smith.
I know.
I don't really know. I mean, there's not really a wide receiver worth taking here, and I don't know a lot about what the offensive and defensive line look like for the Raiders, other than obviously Max Crosby.
We tell you this, John. It's not good. If it's not good.
So I mean, the Raiders aren't going to be any good, but I think that makes the most sense, and I think it probably reinvigorates this fan base a little bit too.
What fan base? The Raiders are in Vegas. They don't have a fan base. So if I'm Jeanty though, and I get drafted,
the Raiders have a fan base.
Whatever. And if I'm Jeanty, where would you want to get drafted?
Out of who?
Well, let's go continue this mock draft, and I'll pose you that question at the end.
So 7 is exactly the same as the last draft. The Jets go with Armand Membu, offensive tackle. 8, the Panthers go with Jalen Walker, which again was exactly the same as the last mock draft. 9, Shermer Stewart to the Saints.
Who's that?
He is an edge rusher out of Texas A&M.
Okay.
Stewart is the kind of high upside edge rusher the Saints can afford to take a chance on in their current timeline. He's got freakish athletic traits, and no one can match his class. He's fifth in the position rank.
Yes.
Okay, so
don't tell me it's Tyler Warren.
This is Tyler Warren.
Yeah, I've heard this.
They go Tyler Warren.
Which one is this one?
This is CBS.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
You want to talk about what makes even less sense than drafting someone when we have DeAndre Swift? Like, you can say what you want about Cole Kmetz. I don't think Cole Kmet's struggles last year had anything to do with him as a player.
Yeah.
He just wasn't being targeted.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just like building more familiarity with Caleb Williams, but they also just paid him. It doesn't make any sense. Like, you've got to see your investment through. Like, you can't just cut your loss. I mean, maybe you can just cut your losses, but...
So here's the thing. Let's role play real quick,
sure.
Okay? You're Ryan Poles, and I'm Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
Okay? I want to draft a tight end. What are you going to say?
Yes. Yes. Fine.
You could have gave me a little bit more, and then I would have been like, I make more money than you.
Yes, exactly.
I was brought here to make an offense.
I knew where you were going with this.
I want a tight end.
Yes.
And you know what's going to happen? He's going to get a tight end.
That's what's going to happen.
Yes.
Which, here's what people will say about Tyler Warren. Is he is like, Cole Kmet, I think he's like a bigger dude and probably is better in like maybe the run block and
sure.
You're more prototypical tight end. I think that's the way I see it.
No, you're right.
Tyler Warren is a little bit more of like the Travis Kelce type.
Brock Bowers.
Well, I don't know I never even saw Brock Bowers play, but
dude, he's amazing.
But he's kind of like more leaning wide receiver type of guy.
Jimmy Graham.
Yeah. What I've heard them say about Tyler Warren is he was more of like a yards after the catch type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he'll catch the ball and he'll make plays happen, which is great for all the fucking screen plays the Bears love to run, regardless of who their offensive coordinator is. So
here's what I would say, like, to the contrary of that, like, Yak works really well in college because it's, you know, some of those guys are going to go be, you know, financial advisors and sell cars one day. Yeah. Okay. When you go in the NFL, these people are literally, they are so skilled. There's not a lot of yak. That's why screens do not work. Ben Johnson, you hear me? Screens do not work. They're fun every once in a while. Like, don't get me wrong, we'll change of pace, but like...
Again, this is some information that I'm pretty much just plagiarizing from the radio, is the other, who CBS actually has ranked number one in the tight end position, is Colston Loveland out of Michigan. And the comparison I've heard from them, from the two of them, is Colston Loveland is a little bit more of the route runner type of guy, who can find soft spots in the zone and things like that.
That's more of a Travis Kelce.
Which in theory, yes, that is Travis Kelce. Yes. Which in theory, it just feels like a skill set that would translate better to the NFL.
Yes,
as opposed to just like out athleticizing and yards after the catch and like juking guys and catching the ball. Yeah. I think I'd rather have a guy who's really good, like a really good like technique route runner.
I've said this before on the podcast. I don't understand why the tight end position isn't more valued. Like,
why do you say that?
I like a guy who has to block and catch. Like, you have to do both, and if you are exceptional at both, why is that not more valuable? In addition, tight ends, like, most tight ends are, like, some of the hardest working guys on the team.
That being said, like,
good work ethic, good locker room guys, like, a guy's guy are typically tight ends. Why are they not more valued?
Because there's, like, two of them that are game changing. There's two of them.
Who, Travis Kelce?
Yeah.
And Brock Bowers?
Yeah. And George Kittle, I'd say.
George Kittle, yeah. What about TJ Hawkinson?
In moments, yeah. But okay, so like even
what about Sam Laporta?
Let's say this.
What about Sam Laporta?
Laporta isn't game changing.
They traded away TJ Hawkinson because Sam Laporta is pretty damn good.
The thing is, like, you know.
What about Mark Andrews? Less him dropping the pass in the AFC Championship.
Yeah, Mark Andrews did nothing. Yeah, so I mean, like, I think what gets you paid a lot is if you were someone who really changed to the game, and it hurts a team to not have someone who's really good at that position. Whereas I think that, you know, tight ends, I think that it's a little bit more of a homogeneous group where they're all about the same, minus like 2 or 3 like tier S tier guys.
So S tier guys, I like that you use that term S tier. So what these two guys that are projected to go in the first round? They're obviously S tier if they're going in the first round. Like, they can be game changers.
Not necessarily. Not every single person in the first round becomes like the top of their field.
But if you do,
can you think of how? Okay, so we've done these quarterback tier lists, and we're talking about tier lists. It is so easy for us to go back and forth and make like these tier lists of like who goes where, and what's the most valuable and highest paid position. It's the quarterback. It's because there is so much variation in that position, and if you don't have one of these top tier guys, that you are not good as a franchise. The same is not true
about
tight end. Yeah. The same is not true for running back either. The same is kind of true for wide receiver and for edge rusher.
Edge rusher, I agree. Well, no, not true. The two of the top paid edge rushers are play for the worst teams in the NFL.
Is it Crosby and Garrett?
Yes.
But then you also got Micah Parsons.
Cowboys are pretty damn bad. The last time they won a playoff game was what? When we were 2, 3, 4?
That's true. But they're always there. But no one denies that the edge rusher is a really important position. And I do think there's an incredible amount of variability.
That's fair. I don't mind the tight end position, but I hope the Bears don't take a tight end.
I think that's what makes like these positions like so like what makes some things more valued and paid more than the other is like how the separation between average and great in the league.
Yeah. What if let's just take a step back real quick and say it wasn't Cole Kmet, because I think we actually have an attachment to Cole Kmet. I do personally think he's a Notre Dame guy. He's an Arlington Heights guy. Yeah. He's got a nice smile. Like, objectively, he's a good-looking cat. He's jacked. Like,
it always comes back to how attracted you are to these players, Kevin. It really does.
They got like, okay, so Moneyball literally was. You remember Moneyball?
Yeah.
There's a scene when he's talking to scouts and he's like.
I was actually I caught like an hour of Moneyball on TV.
Amazing! It's amazing. It's arguably the best sports movie. Anyways, talking to the scouts, these are like the old guys, and they're talking about a guy
just passes the eye test. What do they say?
Yeah, he's like, I don't know, Billy. Doesn't pass the eye test. He's got an ugly girlfriend. These things matter.
But they don't. That's a Billy Bean proved. It doesn't matter. His defect is that he throws weird.
Bro.
His defect is that he got an ugly girlfriend.
Okay, Jonah Hill.
Okay.
Jonah Hill in that movie reminds me of John McGuire. I told him that a lot.
Fair.
Like, he actually likes that kind.
What I will say about Cole Kmet is I don't think Cole Kmet has proven himself.
No.
Absolutely not. But the thing is...
But he's a hometown boy.
But the thing is...
A Notre Dame guy.
The Bears decided to pay him. The Bears decided that he was their guy. That being said, Ben Johnson would hear that's not a problem changing all.
I know.
I think if you decide like, hey, you're our guy, we're paying you all this money, you got to see it through. You got to give him the opportunity to succeed. I don't think he got that opportunity last year, and so I think we got to give it to him now. Ben Johnson, find a way. Here's what I put my foot down as Ryan Poles. It's like, we're not just going to completely gut this team now that you're coming in. You can make the changes going on, but this is our core group. Cole Kmet being one of those guys. You need to figure out how to make this guy. If you're an offensive savant, make this guy work.
You know what would actually be interesting? So, not interesting, but it kind of brings me back to fantasy football with Jeff Beck. Do you remember Jeff Beck's football team name a few years, a decade ago?
What was it?
The 2 tight end set.
Yeah.
The Bill Belichick set.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick won when he first started winning the Super Bowl. It was 21 personnel. Mm-hmm. He would run 2 tight ends every time.
You can make the argument.
Aaron Hernandez, who RIP, whatever, right, and Gronk. 2 elite tight ends. Mm-hmm. And that is a great way to win football. However, that means Caleb's got to get under center.
Yeah.
Caleb doesn't like to get under center. He likes to be back there in the shotgun.
That's going to be happening regardless, is what it sounds like.
I've heard that too.
Here's what I say. CBS is not saying that Cole Kmet is getting thrown out, but they are kind of pitching this as kind of like a complementary system, dual tight end sets.
Yes.
So it could work.
Which means we don't need a slot guy. Which means, hey, let's just run. Just hypothetically, let's just run this offense real quick, right? So your skill position players: DJ Moore, right? Rome. Tight end would be Cole Kmet, and then either of these top-tiered other tight ends, right? And then we'll have in the backfield, we'll have DeAndre Swift. Okay, those are now our core players. When they do the announcements, when they whatever, it's not a slot guy anymore. It's not a third guy, which would be very contradictory to what the Bears are doing, paying Kyler Gordon all this money because the NFL is going to a slot receiver. But it's a long-winded way of me saying I hope they don't do it.
Okay. So that brings us to our last mock draft.
Okay.
With Pro Football Network.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find the name that we can give credit to. It's not becoming immediately obvious to me who wrote this, so we're gonna move on. So Tennessee Titans, Cam Ward.
Okay.
Cleveland Browns, Travis Hunter.
Okay, sounds like that's the way it's going.
New York Giants, Abdul Carter, which I think is the same.
Yep. I'll tell you when it's different.
You really got that? Okay. Yep. And then 4, New England Patriots, Will Campbell, again the same.
Yep.
5, this is a new one.
Okay.
This is a big difference. Jacksonville Jaguars pick Tetora McMillan, wide receiver out of Arizona.
Okay. That's not a good pick, but who am I to tell?
Who did they have going to the Jags? They had Mason Graham, which probably should be for them. I think Mason Graham both times. 6, Las Vegas Raiders. They go for Mason Graham in the mock draft.
Okay, because he falls.
Which makes sense. Because I think that Mason Graham, they have him. CBS has him as the number 1 position rank in this draft.
Yeah, Mason Graham's supposed to be really
and
good.
I think would be a great pair for Max Crosby. I think that'd be a big win for the Raiders.
Yeah.
The Jets still go for offensive tackle Armand Membu.
Okay.
The Panthers go Shermer Stewart, edge rusher out of Texas A&M. The Saints go with Tyler Warren. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't see that happening. I think this might be the worst mock draft so far.
Well, it's the least credible.
And 10, the Bears go Jalen Walker.
Where's Genty at?
Genty goes 12 to the Cowboys.
No way. No way does he fall in the top 10.
I can see it happening.
No.
I can see it happening.
I'll make you a bet right now. I'll make you
No, I mean I'm not gonna bet on it because I do believe.
Let's make a Chipotle bet on it.
Sure, fine.
Chipotle.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no
guac.
No guac.
Whoa! What the fuck? You're a fucking doctor with guac.
But I also do believe that Ashton Genty is gonna go in the top 10.
Okay, fine.
But I do think that there is
no guac, but queso.
No, queso's just as much as guac.
No, it's not. It's half the price. Queso's like $1.20.
I'm not sure that's true.
You're not going to throw queso in.
That's my juice. Like I get the guac, you don't, because I think the odds are definitely in your favor.
All right. Fine.
That's the juice. So this is like a minus 130 situation.
Yeah.
Because I do think Ashton Jeanty will go in the top 10.
I feel like it's like minus 150.
But you know what? If the Bears decide they don't want a running back and the Raiders decide they don't want a running back, then he falls.
No,
he falls.
No, then the Bears trade out of the position. Here's what I would hope happens. If Jeanty does fall to us right at 10 and the Bears really don't want it, but he's clearly the best available, the Bears need to trade out of that position because there is someone that does want Jeanty. I promise you someone wants it.
So let's talk about what the Bears actually did go in this draft, because this is a position that makes sense to me, is I do see the Bears going for an edge. That's what I'm kind of hoping for.
Wait, so you just said this is the least credible mock draft.
But like the other
the only one that takes support.
But the other stuff because the other stuff doesn't make sense. I don't see a wide receiver going in the top 10. They have him going number 5 here. I don't see the Saints just have too many needs to go out there and get Tyler Warren, pick Tyler Warren in their situation. So I don't see that happening. But I do think there's lots of ways that the Bears end up with an offensive lineman or an edge rusher.
Yeah.
And I do think that they should probably just take the best available of the two. That being said, I think there's a lot of things here that don't really excite me at the 10 spot. So I would like to see the Bears trade up if they can. I want Mason Graham, and I don't think that it's going to fall to the Bears.
Yeah, you want to see him trade up?
I want to see him trade up. Here's what I would say: you trade up in this mock draft. I think Mason Graham goes before the Raiders. Honestly,
I feel like trading up never works. I feel like no one's ever traded up and been like, "Oh yeah, that I didn't regret that decision."
Alternatively, I could also see the Bears trading back.
Yeah,
just because nothing here at this spot really excites me. So maybe you trade back a couple of spots.
Dude, trading back always makes you feel better than trading up. Like Bill Belichick always traded back, and look how it worked out for him for a number of years.
Yeah.
I mean, like, especially in a draft that's not so deep, and like the hit rate on these guys so low, anyways, right? Like, why move up, give up more? Like, I would rather take my pick and have hopefully better success. Play it a numbers game. 10 guys or 5 guys, right? Even if they're in the 6th or 7th round. Like if my guys are doing their job right, if I got scouts out there that are actually working hard, hopefully we can find a diamond in the rough.
Yeah. So it seems like there's a pretty good unanimous top 4 here.
Yeah.
I think things got a little bit sideways with Pro Football Network. Of the 3 of them, what do you think it seems like it was the best?
I mean, obviously the first one we get
Bleacher Report. Yeah. So I do think that's like the most likely. But I still think that we're in that position. I agree with you that if we're in like that position and the Cowboys like, hey, you're going to draft Ashton Jeanty? I'm like, yeah, we are. Unless you make us not.
Yeah.
I would like to see him trade back and then do what they got to do.
When we give you that, so of the 3.
That being said, if we draft Ashton Jeanty, I'll be like, fuck yeah, like whatever. Let's ride. We have something exciting. We got a splash player.
Then you got to post when you literally like yelled at me about it.
You're right.
You chewed me out.
Okay. Just because the Bears do it doesn't mean it's the correct decision.
You know what we got to do on our new set? We got to get the wall. We got to make the wall.
Oh yeah, things to put on the wall.
That
will go on the wall. Ashton Jeanty.
We should make a black wall.
Yeah.
A black wall and like right on it.
Like a chalkboard wall.
Yes.
So what do I have? I gotta find all the things because I know the one with
two left tackles.
Declan Doyle.
Left guards.
2 left guards. We have 2 left guards. Declan Doyle, a 28-year-old fake offensive coordinator who was probably just like there to give Ben Johnson foot rubs.
Who's related to Mike Ditka? Come on.
That's right. I did forget about that.
Come on.
Okay, fine. I'm backing on Declan. But if we draft Ashton Jeanty, that's a clear trouble on the horizon because everyone's going to be like, we're already talking about winning the offseason. I'm like, I'm not sold on anything. You want to put negative spins on everything, which you absolutely can. You can't declare Ben Johnson a winner until he wins.
Yeah.
And he hasn't fucking done it yet.
Well, I told you.
And everybody loves Motor City Dan Campbell.
CDC baby.
And how much if you've got a guy who gets everybody in line, MCDC is the one who gets all the guys to buy in.
He's the leader.
And it's really easy to be a number 2 on a team where everyone is already bought in.
Yes.
Can you create that? So I'm not willing to say that this is a win yet. Got to see him in action. Yeah. So, and you know what? Until we see that, we haven't won this offseason.
Yeah.
And if we just start racking up more shit like Ashton Jeanty, running back, when we just went out and got a running back last year who wasn't that bad.
Yeah. So when you remember that graphic that I had with the bus and the teams on the side and the other side?
Yeah.
The off season for the bad teams are always the shining light time.
Yeah.
So we're winning the off season, but it doesn't translate to wins and losses in the real game.
Yeah.
So let me just pose this question. So if I'm Ashton Jeanty, of those 3 teams,
what 3 teams?
I'm going to tell you of the mock drafts. So we had the Bears in mock draft number 1. Yeah. We had the Raiders in mock draft number 2, and we had the Cowboys in mock draft number 3. Mm-hmm. Where would you go up to 3?
The Cowboys.
That's where you would want to go?
Yes.
Why?
Because it's the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are still in a position where they think they can win now. I think they got a good offensive line, they got a good quarterback, and they've got a little bit more of a proven situation. Mike McCarthy is no longer there. Who's there?
Mike McCarthy's who I want. Yeah. Want him to get? I don't know, man.
Where did he get? Did he sign anywhere? Who's there for who's there for the Cowboys now? Okay, I'm being a contrarian. You want me to say the Bears, which
Brian Schottenheimer. Wow, I didn't know that. That was pretty under the radar.
Well, you want me to say that Ashton Jeanty should want to go to the Bears. We had the same conversation about Caleb Williams. It's like we're giving Caleb Williams the best shot that any first overall pick has ever gotten, and we were wrong. We're fucking wrong.
I would actually, if I'm him, I would actually say the Raiders.
Oh yeah? Okay. Well, I can see that.
Well, first of all,
I can make that argument.
Raiders are a badass team.
Yeah.
Right? They're a bad team too, right? And you can go and be an absolute hero.
Yeah.
Right?
Live in the Vegas market.
I was literally going to say, live in the Vegas market. That's like every week.
Players just do not seem to want to come to Chicago.
Yeah, exactly.
No one is hyped about coming to Chicago.
And it
sucks.
Sad.
It sucks. Yeah.
I know.
And some of it, I think from basketball, I think MJ, a lot, I think NBA players don't want to, and then I think a lot of players don't want to go to a cold market. No, I think that's
the weather.
I think it's a big part of it. I think for football it's the weather. For basketball, it's obviously not the weather.
It's not true. I'll never forget this. Patrick Williams. I remember, when he first came to Chicago, and they were showing him he had his brand new Porsche, and he's fucking wiping. It was right after it snowed, and he's wiping off, and he's like, "What do you think about this, Rook?" And he's like, "Man, I hate this," right? And it's like, dude,
sure, yeah, people don't want to deal with the
Chicago weather sucks, man.
And obviously you deal with this. I think it's just kind of also different on the East Coast, your Bostons, your New Yorks. I think it gets colder and more bitter in the Midwest winters.
Well, here's the thing, though. The 3 major markets, let's talk about it. New York, Chicago, LA. Obviously, LA, we don't even need to talk about why it's the best. Yeah. But it's the best.
Yeah.
Okay. Then between Chicago and New York, New York is just, it's great. It's awesome. I can, especially if you have money, New York's amazing.
Yeah.
Right? The penthouses, the nightlife, everything about New York is amazing. Mm-hmm. But then it's Chicago, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
There's a reason we're not getting free agents.
Yeah.
This all comes back to, do you remember 2008? I'll never forget it. When they had the free agency with Chris Bosh, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, who else was in that big time?
Carlos Boozer.
Well, I was going to say, that's who we got at the end of the day.
Yeah, it was Wade, Bosh, and Boozer.
Yeah.
It was Wade, Boozer.
I thought there was another one.
And LeBron.
There might
have been somebody else somehow.
If we ended up getting Carlos Boozer, right? And all that shit, right? And it's I'd go play in South Beach too. Whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. So unfortunately, that's just the reality of the situation.
Sucks to suck, man.
So closing thoughts on that.
The Bears?
Yeah. What do you think's gonna happen?
I think we're either drafting Jeanty, he's gonna follow us, or we're trading out.
I think the Raiders pick Jeanty. I think that we go with a very unsexy offensive tackle or edge, and I'll be super happy about that.
I won't be mad.
I'm happy to add my broccoli on that.
Yeah.
Can we both agree that we'll both be a little bit if they go with Tyler Warren?
Oh, dude, it would be.
Not and I'm not saying, and I think the Bears.
It'd be a cocky pick.
A running back, yeah, exactly. I think a running back would make sense in the second round.
I was going to say, Jeanty only makes sense because of his literal game-changing ability. Other than that,
I don't think that you're right about that. I don't think
you watch his highlight and you're like, oh shit, he's actually good.
Yeah, every running back looks good in Boise State.
Dude, he was playing Oregon and he looked real good.
I don't know. We'll see. He's also got a lot of miles on him. We can hash this out. We'll I'm sure we'll record again next week before the draft.
Or for the draft.
Yeah, or for the draft.
Are we back now, Johnny?
I think we're back.
I'm back.
So we're about 50 minutes.
That's not bad.
Anything else you want to chat about?
Bulls playing game?
Bulls playing game is tomorrow. So
what do you think?
So we haven't recorded since I went to that game, the Lakers game, the one that got a lot of good, passes with Josh Giddey hitting that three.
Dude,
amazing. That was an amazing game to go to.
Dude, that was like, I'm so jealous I didn't go to that game.
But you know what? Like the Bulls looked like they were laying an egg, kind of like in the beginning of the fourth quarter. They were down by well into double figures, and I was actually kind of like eyeing the exit. I was just.
Can you imagine?
I had like 3 beers, and I'm just like, I'm getting tired. The Bulls look like they're rolling over here.
Is Marcus ready to bounce?
And that being said, no, Marcus, he never made a claim that he wanted to leave. And then it was just kind of like, Luka and Bron. There's just like not much exciting about their game. They didn't have bad games, but like
LeBron's also like 40. Dude.
Yeah, but like they didn't have bad games, but like there was just not much exciting about their game. Like it wasn't just like electric. It wasn't dynamic. They're both mechanically really good. Luka just has a step back shot and it goes in, even though it doesn't feel like it should. So there was that part of the game that was a little bit surprising to me. But yeah, the Bulls play up. It's against Miami, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the Bulls. I think it's Miami. I could be wrong. Let me look that up really quick. The Bulls are 3-0 against Miami this year, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Bulls play. I could be wrong. Playing game.
Sounds right.
It's Miami.
They always play.
Yeah.
Miami.
So and it's at home. Is it best of 3? Is that how this works? I forget. So yeah, I got that. The Cubs are playing pretty well.
But they're Jordan Steele, whatever, he's out for the season. Their best
season.
Yeah, he had surgery. But yeah, they just beat the Dodgers. I lost a ton of money on that game. I was like, no way are they going to win after their ace goes out for the year.
Is Paul Skeens in town? I know they're playing the Padres.
No, Paul Skeens plays for Pitt.
Oh, maybe it's Pitt.
Yeah, no, they're playing the Padres are in town.
They're
playing at Padres.
You're right. I got them confused.
Yeah, they're on the West Coast tour right now.
Pittsburgh, Paul Skeens.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. Let's say that WNBA draft just happened. Like I said, we got Haley Van, whatever. Yeah,
she's cute.
Looking real good, Haley. I'm not gonna lie, girl.
When is it? Because I remember last. Yeah, they're in their heels, just getting off the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
And then they're starting a game in like a month.
I know.
The WNBA timeline makes no sense.
And then they have like the big 3 in the off season. I don't get it either, man. I have no idea. But like.
Yeah, that was some good content.
But like good for like the whole women's sports movement or whatever. Like they're trying to stay out in front of us, and like they're doing a good job of staying. Like they have momentum. Like capitalize on it and keep it going.
Yeah. So season opener for the WNBA. If you're still watching, you're a real one.
Yeah.
We promise we'll keep WNBA talk to the end of episodes to keep you. Opening night is May 16th. Okay, so still about like a month from tomorrow.
Still though.
It's a month from the day that's going on. And I wonder if is there a big marquee game. I'm guessing it's probably Caitlin Clark.
Opening night.
Yeah.
Fever versus Sky.
Yeah. We're talking about movies. You know what movie I was watching before you came over that I just kind of want to plug is I think it might be one.
Moneyball.
No. Moneyball is good. I also like and that same night I was just like cleaning and the stuff was just on. I also started watching Air. It's the
I saw that.
It's Matt Damon. Nike biopic.
No. Did you watch the whole thing?
No, I did not. Is it good? I was captivated. I watched probably the middle third.
The problem, they never show Jordan.
Yeah, but no, I think that's fine. That's not a problem. It's like
it's kind of lame.
Don't make it about it. I get it. It's kind of like Jaws. You don't see the shark until the end.
Yeah, but they just showed the back of his head.
Yeah, that's fine. It wasn't about Jordan. It was about Jordan, but like, I kind of appreciate it.
So did you read Shoe Dog?
No.
So I read Shoe Dog. So like, they didn't really touch on Phil Knight a ton. Mm-hmm. They just like the innovation of this shoe, but like actually how Nike became Nike is actually super dope. Basically, Phil Knight used to go to like all these track meets and sell these fucking shoes out of the back of his fucking trunk, like just slinging them. Like I just have this. image in my head of just like this dude just like wearing sunglasses.
What made you decide to read this book?
It's like one of the best like autobiographies. Like,
right.
I've gotten big. I did Elon Musk's. I gotten a big.
Really?
In my like mid-20s, I was like trying to channel my inner CEO.
Oh, that's
like
right. I get it.
Like I thought I wanted to be a CEO. Then I worked for a company that was like, this is how you become a CEO. And I was like, yeah, no, I like my family.
Yeah. But neither one of those movies were the ones I was talking about. I was watching Pitch Perfect before you came over. You love Pitch Perfect. I'm not sure, and I only caught like the last third of it, and I don't know how much it truly holds up. But there's something like...
Can't say I've watched a minute of that.
You've never seen Pitch Perfect?
No, dog.
I don't know if it'll hold up at this point in your life. I think it came out probably about the right time, like you know when you're watching a movie that the character is about the same age that you are.
Yeah.
So it was like college, and that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
I love Anna Kendrick, first of all.
Yeah.
And there's a scene you haven't seen. I can't believe you haven't seen the movie. Like towards the end of the one, and people, I don't know, everyone else has seen Pitch Perfect. So like the end of the movie, you know, this is gonna sound super lame, but like when they're singing the song and she starts just singing what's the song from The Breakfast Club? Don't You Forget About Me? Have you seen The Breakfast Club?
I have. I don't remember that.
Don't you?
Oh yes. Okay. Yes.
When she starts singing that, I'm just like I get chills when I listen to that. So I recommend you watch Pitch Perfect and see if you like.
Okay, I'll add that to the list.
Basha would probably like watching it with you. It's a good date night movie.
I mean, we don't have a lot of time for date nights these days, but
don't make it real, man.
You know, I did have a conscious thought on the way over here that I do want to share with you along the same lines of movies and books, because I'm listening to audiobooks now a lot. I'm on paternity leave in the second half of my paternity leave, listening to audiobooks. Sure. And I was thinking about was like when you read a book or listen to an audiobook, when they describe the character, what do you think of? Like, how do you envision the character?
I don't know. It depends on the description of the character.
Okay, so let me give you some like examples, right? So like I either like tend to like someone in my life,
sure, right,
or a Hollywood actor, right? And I kind of like mold and like morph them into.
I don't think I do that.
You don't?
I don't think I do.
You make up this character, this completely independent character that you've never seen in your entire life.
Probably, but you know what? I also don't think this doesn't surprise me about how much you want to talk about how sexy Cole Kmet is. I just don't spend much time thinking about what the character actually looks like, unless it's pertinent to the book. I mean, I'll usually think of like a male of like average height with like brown hair, unless they have like some sort of defining features. I don't think much about like what they look like.
Really?
Yes. I think that's a true statement.
Maybe that's why I'm not a fast reader.
I'm not a fast reader either. In fact, I don't read. So.
Wow. Okay, well that's completely.
Is that why you're reading biopics? Because like, oh, I know what Elon Musk looks like.
Well, no, that was a
picture of him on the book.
That was in my. Sound like your brother right there. That was in my mid-20s. So now I'm in my mid-30s. So this is 10.
Man, you were an early adopter of Elon Musk's dick.
Oh, dude, I was really. I mean, how could I not? Anyway, so the reason I brought that up, though, it may not hit anymore, but I was thinking about it today specifically, like books back in the day that were written before, because I like to relate it to someone I either know in my life or like a Hollywood star, and like a combination of the two, and I kind of formed them into like what I envisioned they would look like. With that being said, like back in the day, the authors to be able to describe and create characters had to be without Hollywood and stuff, without like these ideas and creating these people in your head, had to be so intelligent. Like just like reading back in like the 1900s had to be like revolutionary. And I was just thinking about like how beautiful that is and how awesome that was. Like how like we just go on the phones and look at the TikTok for like 10 seconds now. It's like it just makes me sad sometimes.
Read books, kids. It's great. I don't know, man. I did Instagram.
Did you though? You went back on it today, and you laughed at a ton of stuff.
You're right.
How do you think about your performance on Sunday?
Basketball?
Yeah.
I didn't finish down the stretch.
I thought you had a great game.
Missed a couple layups. I appreciate that.
I thought you had a great game until you missed those 2 layups.
Yeah.
Like you had someone who was on the definitely lower tier guarding you. You took advantage.
Yeah.
You like literally great cuts, caught the ball in the lane.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna give this to you guys for imagery. Both times with his right hand going up for a layup, and he missed it.
I'm a streaky shooter, man. But you know, it was good. It was a fun game.
It was a great game.
It's good to win.
It was a very needed dub. Very needed dub.
If you're still watching, you're a real one. We're back. Draft's coming
So
up.
fucking back.
We're so fucking back. Yeah. Draft's coming up. If you want to keep yourself in the loop of what's going on in the offseason, so you're ready for day one when the Bears make that run from last place to first place in the NFC North. I'm just going to say it without putting any sort of feeling behind it.
We're taking back the North. We're never giving it back.
We're taking the North. We're never giving it back, baby. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Season 2. It's a wrap.
Peace out.
It's fun. How long? Hour and 10 minutes.